Discover the unexpected bond, how one single dad's touching act transformed a homeless woman's life. The frost crunched beneath Mike's boots as he hurried through the park, racing the clock to make it home to Lily. His heart thudded with a familiar anxiety. The weight of late shifts and the responsibilities of single fatherhood pressed down on him like a blanket. With every moment spent away from her, the guilt gnawed at him, and the thought of failing her loomed larger than the rush of evening traffic. Yet, amidst his hurried thoughts, he spotted her, a woman huddled under a tattered blanket, her weary eyes squinting against the bright glow of the street lamp. A wave of compassion surged within him, disrupting his mission to get home. "Come on, Mike, you can't save everyone," he muttered to himself. But he couldn't shake the feeling that this woman deserved more than just a fleeting glance. His own childhood had been filled with empty promises and broken dreams, and watching this stranger in desperate need tugged at his heart. That first sandwich he offered her felt monumental. As she gave him a smile, he saw a flicker of hope in her eyes. The unexpected connection ignited something within him, a need to do more. Over the weeks, their simple exchanges turned into conversations about art, beauty, and lost aspirations. Yet, Mike grappled with the reality of his situation, balancing a fraying rope of work and fatherhood. Should he invest time in Sarah's future when his own daughter depended on his loyalty to her? As the urgency of bills loomed, he grappled with this moral dilemma. Who was he to change someone else's life when he was still fighting to provide for his own? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Growing tensions collided like a thunderstorm when his boss caught wind of Mike's budding friendship with Sarah. "Think about your reputation, Mike," his boss had barked one day, eyes narrowing like a hawk. The words pierced through Mike. What was the cost of compassion? A promotion? A safe job? His breaths quickened as uncertainty flared inside him. He wanted to scream that he had a daughter to care for, a child who deserved to know kindness existed beyond the walls of their home, yet the ramifications of standing up for Sarah felt perilously heavy. As deadlines loomed and the pressures mounted, Mike felt fragments of himself begin to crack. His heart raced with doubt. Was he doing the right thing? The emotional storm within him threatened to overflow. He found himself questioning the very essence of loyalty, not only toward his job but also toward those in need. Was he truly prepared to fight for a friendship that mattered, or should he bury this connection for his daughter's sake? Their futures dangled precariously, and as the day of the art show approached, he was faced with an unbearable decision. With uncertainty gnawing at his insides, his resolve started to solidify. He had to confront his fears. The lives of both women hung in the balance. Just as he steeled himself, a familiar face suddenly appeared at the gallery's entrance, shattering everything he thought he knew about loyalty, reputation, and success. The weight of the moment held him captive, compelling him to redefine everything in a world quick to judge. In that split second, Mike's thoughts collided, threatening to crystallize into panic. The familiar face was a ghost from a past he'd hoped to escape, the kind that clung to the shadows of memory, whispering doubts. Lisa, his former college girlfriend, stood draped in a confidence he both admired and loathed. Her presence felt like a spotlight illuminating the cracks of his carefully constructed life as a single father and a burdened worker. "Mike? Is that you?" she called out, her voice cutting through the murmur of the crowd. An exhalation of interest and judgment in equal measure, promising to peel away layers he had tried to cover. He could feel his heartbeat quicken and the remnants of confidence he had summoned started to waver. His safety net had been unraveling, and now, with her arrival, it felt as if he were standing on a precipice, teetering without the balance he desperately needed. "Fancy seeing you here," Mike forced out, trying to keep his tone light, but the words tasted bitter on his tongue. The past echoed in her laughter, a reminder of the aspirations they once shared, the bright future, the promise of art, the world waiting for them to seize it. Yet there he stood, grappling with guilt and a dangerous urge to escape this moment, to protect everything he had built since those carefree days: his daughter, his responsibilities, even his connection with Sarah. But all the while, Mike questioned what his own principles meant under the scrutiny of others. "Are you all right? You look stressed," she noted, genuine curiosity mingling with thinly veiled concern. Her gaze shifted behind him in search of the source of his worries, landing on Sarah, who stood at the edge of the gallery, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face as she processed this scene. A sharp pang of awareness struck him. With Lisa's arrival, their connection seemed to hang in the balance. Was he willing to let an old relationship dictate the trajectory of the new bond he was forging? How would Sarah perceive him with Lisa hovering in the background, her idealized version of success looming over the reality of his choices? "Just balancing life and, well, everything," Mike replied, a rush of frustration erupting within him. It felt inadequate, a hollow echo of the whirlwind that had become his daily existence. He wanted to scream that he was trying to be better, to be supportive and present not just for his daughter but for someone like Sarah, who had begun to shine with renewed hope. Without thinking, Mike took a few steps towards Sarah, but Lisa's voice stopped him. "You should come back to the city more often. We could collaborate on something again, reignite those old projects." The word "collaborate" slithered under his skin, reminding him of ambitions left dormant, partisan passions forgotten. Yet, it also echoed as the very essence of his current dilemma: how could he indulge in aspirations when both his obligations and intentions felt fragile? Mike felt the time had come to face truths long held at bay. Would he choose the comfort of past relationships to mold his future or stand firm in the life he had fought for against the odds? This moment of reckoning felt electric, a juncture that could determine the course of not just his life, but Sarah's. The art show came alive around him, a swirl of emotions tangled in his chest: fear, hope, desire, commitment. Mike took a deep breath, preparing himself to confront not just his past, but the ramifications that would ripple from every choice he made from here on. With a final glance at Sarah's hopeful expression amidst the crowd, he realized it was time to decide what kind of man he wanted to be. The moment of truth was approaching, and standing at the intersection of opportunity and risk, Mike felt the weight of every gaze, his own, and those of the women he cared so deeply for. What awaited him was unclear, but the question lingered in his mind: was he ready to forge ahead, no matter the cost? Inside the gallery, the vibrant colors of the artwork seemed to swirl, echoing the chaos inside Mike's mind. He turned back toward Lisa, who now wore an expectant look, her arms crossed, both alluring and intimidating. Collaborate, the word hung between them like a distant melody that he could hear but couldn't quite grasp. Lisa had always been ambitious, her drive infectious, a trait he once admired in her. Yet, standing here, those qualities felt like a double-edged sword, cutting through the stability he worked so hard to create. As his eyes flicked back toward Sarah, uncertainty crept in. Was this the moment he had been waiting for, an opportunity to unearth the aspirations he had shelved for too long? Or was it simply a tantalizing trap designed to ensnare him in the regrets of his youth? "Look, I get it. Life is busy," Lisa said, her voice softening, as if picking up on the fracture in his resolve. "But you can't let it bury your dreams. You have something to offer, something we could create together." The words tugged at something deep within him. A reminder that the silent ambitions were still alive, waiting like seeds buried beneath winter's frost. Yet, he felt the weight of those dreams, mingled with the guilt of wanting more. "I'm not sure it's that simple, Lisa," Mike replied, his voice barely above a whisper. The words emerged raw and unrefined, revealing his discontent. "Things have changed." The chuckle that slipped from Lisa's lips struck Mike more than he anticipated. "Of course they have. But you still want more, don't you? You don't have to choose one over the other." He hesitated, overwhelmed by the swirl of their shared past and the formidable present shaping him into something he barely recognized. Was this her way of calling him back into a fold he thought he'd escaped from? Or an insistent nudge toward reclaiming parts of himself he feared he might be losing? The tension bloomed into a thorny vine, wrapping around his chest, squeezing tighter. It wouldn't be fair to Sarah, Mike finally confessed, his voice sharper than intended. I can't just jump back into old habits. The moment softened as Lisa studied him, her expression shifting from frustration to understanding. And you think not taking risks now is somehow better for her? It's not just about you, Mike. You need to show her what it means to pursue your passion, even when it's hard. The fight inside him settled into a slow simmer. Could it be true? Was he sacrificing too much, ceding his identity for the illusion of safety? Maybe you're right, but... He searched for the right words. I don't want to end up making the same mistakes. I've been trying to build something meaningful. Then build it, Lisa urged gently. Don't run away from what you want just because you doubt yourself. There's a world of potential out there, and time is what it takes to explore it. He looked at her, a dim ember of ambition sparked by her conviction. Memories of late nights spent brainstorming art projects flooded back, mingled with the laughter that came so easily. Could he still be that dreamer? The thought scared him, fueling doubt along with curiosity. All right, Mike said slowly, weighing the choice like a stone in his palm. What do you suggest? Meet up, let us sift through ideas, and see if we can channel some of that history into something new. It's not about abandoning your life. It's about integrating what you love into it. By now, uncertainty danced in his mind, mixing apprehension with a flicker of hope. Could creating together not only reignite his spirit but also serve as an example for Sarah, pushing them all towards something better? This idea transported him beyond the immediate confrontation, opening doors he didn't know existed. As he glanced once more at Sarah, who was now glancing back, an unspoken affirmation passed between them: trust and hope. It felt heavy on his heart, urging him forward. I'll think about it, he offered, a promise inked with untested resolve. With the heaviness of the moment behind them, would this be the beginning of a new chapter, or merely a diversion from the path he was forging with Sarah? The magnetic pull of past desires seemed intent on reshaping his future. He felt a familiar surge of determination rise within him. Mike hadn't fully emerged from his past yet, but the prospect of standing at the precipice of potential felt oddly exhilarating. What awaited him on this new path was anyone's guess, but he relished the uncertainty, ready to discover a life no longer bound by fear. The hours after leaving the gallery were heavy with contemplation. Mike paced the dimly lit corridor of his apartment, the weight of his decision palpable in the air around him. As he leaned against the kitchen counter, the soft glow from the window cast shadows that mingled with his restless thoughts. He poured himself a glass of water, the coolness temporarily soothing his frazzled mind. What did it mean to integrate his long-buried dreams into the fabric of his life? The question looped endlessly, its complexity both daunting and invigorating. He had spent so many years building a life devoid of artistic ambition, his focus narrowly defined by fatherhood, duty, and predictability. Yet, Lisa's invitation dangled evidence of something less tangible, passion that made him question everything he had built around himself. Was his stability merely an elaborate barricade against the tumult of potential chaos? He moved to where Sarah was engrossed in a book on the sofa, her innocence a beacon of what he had dedicated himself to preserving. But was that preservation tethered to his own sacrifices? Each silent page she turned was a role model, seamlessly reflecting who he was as a parent, a sanctuary of support, yes, but also a stagnant pool of self-restraint. Hey, kiddo, he said, flopping down next to her. Her eyes flickered over to his for a brief moment before they returned to the page. The tranquility of the moment stirred something within him, a reminder of how he prioritized her happiness. Can I ask you something? He ventured. She nodded, taking a moment to contemplate her answer before whispering a tentative, sure. What do you want to be when you grow up? The question felt trivial until it tumbled out of his mouth. It was an innocent inquiry, yet in it lay the enormity of aspirations, the same ambitions he had left behind. She paused, turning her head to look deeply into his eyes. A vet, because I want to help animals. Why do you ask? He felt the warmth of her ambition seep into him, and the familiar weight lifted just a fraction. Just curious. You're going to be amazing at it, you know. A small smile broke on her face, and for that fraction of a moment, Mike realized that supporting Sarah's dreams meant he needed to do the same for his own. Yet, that gnawing question remained: what if he stumbled down the same path of failure again? As if sensing his turmoil, Sarah laid her book aside. "Do you want to be something too, Dad?" Her words hung in the air, a reflective mirror to his own indecision. "I used to have a dream, but then why give it up? You say you want me to follow my dreams. What about yours?" Each word struck a chord, reverberating through the quiet moments of their shared life and carving out space for new possibilities. The sheer simplicity of her question shattered the complexity he created around his fears. Wasn't that the essence of growth, experiencing the intertwining of aspirations and vulnerability, navigating both triumph and failure? That night, while Sarah drifted into a peaceful sleep, Mike found himself awake. The remnants of his earlier encounter with Lisa washed over him in the dark, stirring the shadows of creative urges nestled deep within. He thought about the collaborative ideas they could explore, the potential for shared artistic creation. With newfound clarity, he positioned a blank sketchbook on the table, tipping it open to a new page. As he reached for a pencil, a wave of anticipation coursed through him. He would explore the concepts Lisa put forth. It wasn't an abandonment of Sarah or their shared stability, it was the furthest thing from it. Instead, it was an embrace of a fuller, more authentic life he could model for her, one where both parent and child pursue their passions. Together, the night stretched on, and Mike's hand began to move over the page, releasing the pent-up frustrations and dreams that shaped him. As strokes turned into form, the connection between father and daughter crystallized in his mind. He would not abandon his responsibilities, but neither would he deny himself. The freedom to rediscover, and just as he exited the haze of self-doubt, something sparked within. He would need to confront the challenge ahead, re-establishing boundaries not just for himself, but for how his decisions would impact Sarah. Tomorrow, he would reach out to Lisa. The moment had come to face the lingering doubts that clouded his horizon. That he felt a breath of fresh air sweep through him, revitalizing his spirit. What lay ahead was unclear, but he understood now the turmoil was precisely the soil where dreams could take root. As the pencil danced across the paper, Mike's renewed resolve flickered like a candle in the dark. The time had come to reclaim the pieces of himself he had tucked away too long. But would he be able to rekindle the connection with Lisa and navigate the complexities of his new endeavor without losing sight of Sarah's needs? The question lingered, daring him to find the balance and take the plunge. Morning light seeped through the curtains, igniting the faded hues of the kitchen walls. Mike stirred awake, feeling the electric current of possibility still resonating from the night before. The sketchbook rested closed on the table, and the pencil lay beside it, a promise of intentions yet to be fulfilled. He took a moment to gather his thoughts, the echoes of yesterday's conversation with Sarah still reverberating in his mind. Her innocent inquiry, paired with her unwavering faith in his potential, tugged at his heartstrings. This morning was not merely another day, it marked the inception of something transformative. After a quick breakfast, Mike settled on the couch, the sketchbook open on his lap. The blank pages bore witness to his uncertainty but also his sense of reclamation. He began drawing, sketching a simple image of a father and daughter, himself and Sarah walking hand in hand through an expansive field. With each stroke, he felt a merging of two worlds, the father who nurtured and the artist who explored. Clarity hit like a hammer strike. He was not merely reawakening dormant dreams, he was redefining their coexistence with fatherhood. The anxiety he had felt previously over committed responsibilities began to dissipate, replaced by a resilient sense of purpose, but the real test lay ahead. Would reaching out to Lisa, setting the wheels in motion for artistic collaboration, still hold weight against the backdrop of his parental role? The decision was neglecting his responsibilities, it encompassed enriching both his life and Sarah's. After a quick shower, he sat down at the computer, fingers hovering over the keyboard as he prepared to draft an email to Lisa. The invitation lingered in his mind like an untamed moth, drawn to the flicker of light she represented. The potential for shared creativity was intoxicating, yet uncertainty rooted in past failures loomed ominously. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, and let his thoughts settle. Fear of the past meeting, burgeoning hope felt paradoxical, yet he understood they would have to coexist. Slowly, he composed a message, straddling professional and personal tones, each word carefully chosen to reflect both eagerness and caution. As he hit send, a surge of exhilaration swept through him, quickly followed by a wave of apprehension. Would Lisa receive him with the same warmth? Would she see potential in their collaborative efforts? He shifted his gaze from the computer screen to the window, watching as a couple walked by, each entwined in a world of discovery. They were artists of their own lives, refusing to shy away from the unknown. It stirred something deep within him, a blend of longing and inspiration. Later that day, as he strolled through the city, he re-evaluated the layers of his past with each added step. He had avoided risks for so long, he wondered how they could lead to growth. Along the way, Mike paused before a vibrant mural splashed across a wall. The artwork spoke of stories untold, resilience, and dreams unbridled. It was as though the colors echoed his desires and fears. Right then, something clicked. Instead of merely reclaiming his artistic identity, he recognized the profound connection between creativity and authenticity. Both he and Sarah could paint their lives with their respective brushes. The murals weren't just backdrops, they were mirrors reflecting aspirations. As light began to fade, he returned home, a sense of anticipation brewing in his chest. The idea of weaving his artistic pursuits with fatherhood didn't feel like a contradiction anymore. It felt liberating. Yet, he knew challenges lay ahead: Lisa's response, other people's opinions, and his own doubts, all intertwining into a complexity he was just beginning to unravel. When his phone chimed, Mike's heart quickened with hope. It was a message from Lisa. He hesitated, pulsing between exhilaration and anxiety. The path toward blending dreams and duty would hinge on her response. Would it bolster his resolve, or would it mark another setback from which he would have to recover? If he was to navigate this correctly, he would need courage, not only to engage in creative collaboration but to embrace every challenge that came with it. Taking a deep breath, he steeled himself against the impending uncertainty as he read her words, aware that every endeavor held the potential for both pain and growth. But amid the swirling nerves, something within declared, now was not the time to falter. The moment of truth beckoned, and Mike understood this journey was about to unfold in ways he couldn't yet imagine. Mike's gaze scanned the message, his heart racing as he processed each word. Lisa's opening lines acknowledged his email's warmth and rekindled their old rapport, a connection etched in creative camaraderie. His mind darted to their past collaboration, the vibrant energy they shared on that art installation and electric partnership that stirred unfulfilled yearnings within him. But then, the final paragraph hit him hard. Lisa was excited about the prospect of working together again but suggested a tight timeline. Her enthusiasm was a balm against his insecurity, yet the looming deadline felt suffocating. Attachment to notions of what if formed a noose around his aspirations. Could he allocate time for an artistic project without jeopardizing his obligations to Sarah? The internal tug-of-war intensified. He was tethered to his daughter, but deeper desires oscillated within him. Closing the laptop, he immediately felt the weight of a decision pressing down on him. The artistic itch had reawakened, mingling insidiously with the responsibilities of fatherhood. Could he manage both without sacrificing either? He wrestled with these thoughts, pacing in the small living room that seemed to shrink with each passing moment. That night, with Sarah asleep, he grabbed his sketchbook and began mapping out ideas for the project with Lisa. Each drawing unraveled strange excitement while sowing seeds of doubt. How could he dive into art again when painting had unknowingly faltered in the face of responsibility? Yet each stroke on the page relieved him, intertwining the narrative of a man torn between his artistic passions and the role he cherished most, being a father. Morning light pierced the curtains once more, bringing clarity. Inspired, Mike drafted a response to Lisa, proposing a flexible schedule that accommodated Sarah's activities. A surge of confidence surged through him. He was not asking for a favor, he was asserting his worth and balancing both worlds. Adopting the mindset that integration was his new norm fueled his resolve. However, as he clicked send, the fleeting thrill of empowerment waned, replaced by the familiar grip of anxiety. What if he couldn't meet the expectations he'd set? What if Sarah needed him more than he anticipated? Those thoughts reverberated in his mind like a pessimistic chant that refused to dissipate. In an effort to ground himself, Mike took an afternoon walk with Sarah. They ventured to the local park, where laughter bubbled from children playing. Watching her joyfully interact with friends stirred echoes of his own childhood, where creativity thrived unchained by expectations. Each giggle and shriek sparked reflections on the relationship between artistic freedom and nurturance. Through Sarah, he saw possibility undamaged by fear. Yet, mid-laugh, Sarah approached him, brows furrowed, an unreadable expression shadowing her face. "Daddy, why do you draw so much? You're always thinking about art. Is it more important than being with me?" Her innocent question pierced through the facade he had curated, causing him to re-evaluate his choices. The simplicity of her concern was profound, it struck at the core of his ambitions and fears. Could pursuing his passion genuinely coexist with being present for her? After assuring her of her primacy in his life, he found himself grappling with a dawning realization. Perhaps lacing creative pursuits within the fabric of fatherhood was the very artistry he sought. But how to mold those two worlds together without fracture? As they wrapped up their day, an unexpected bond began to cement between them. Could Sarah inspire his art? Could he draw with her as a muse, blending their encounters into narratives? Ideas began forming what tales lay dormant between them, waiting for their exploration. That night, as he rocked Sarah to sleep, he sensed a shift within himself. He wasn't merely balancing art and fatherhood anymore, he was creating a new narrative, one where both sculpted the other. A text from Lisa buzzed on his phone, a question about his proposed schedule. It was time to affirm that his vision was whole and expansive. Although the uncertainty tickled his stomach, he felt the exhilaration of convergence rushing in. As he crafted his response, a question lingered: would this decision define his journey, or would the collision of ambitions reveal even wider horizons? The inkling of unexplored dimensions sparked the possibility of new transformations he had yet to fathom. The days that followed were a whirlwind of new energy as Mike reconciled his commitments to art and fatherhood. Each morning when Sarah awoke, her bright smile was a gentle reminder of what truly mattered. Inspired by their conversation, he made a conscious effort to incorporate his artistic ambitions into their daily lives. He transformed his routine, blending her activities with artistic exploration, drawing pictures of their adventures together, capturing moments that were quickly becoming cherished memories. As the weekend approached, Lisa's responses were swift, filled with encouragement and collaborative suggestions. They discussed concepts about color and texture that reminded him of their past. Each interaction tasted of nostalgia, but it also expanded his vision for what their project could be. The deadline Lisa mentioned no longer felt suffocating, instead, it became a challenge he was eager to meet. The prospect of pushing artistic boundaries alongside a confidant reignited his passion in ways he hadn't anticipated. That Saturday morning, armed with a fresh sketchbook, Mike took Sarah to a nearby art fair. It was bustling with energy, vibrant colors splashed across stalls, each capturing a different narrative. Mike had hoped to inspire her creativity while also gleaning insights from local artists. As they roamed, Sarah's wide-eyed wonder illuminated his heart. Every time she gasped in delight at a painting or sculpture, Mike felt sparks igniting his own artistic passion, propelling him deeper into his own creative landscape. While exploring, they stumbled upon an artist whose work was raw and full of emotion, each piece telling a story that resonated. Mike felt a familiar pull, an electric connection that hinted at deeper artistic truths waiting to be uncovered. He struck up a conversation with the artist, sharing his aspirations, and in return, the artist offered insightful critiques. Gleaning feedback from someone who understood the struggles of balancing creativity and personal responsibilities was invigorating. It was a formative moment that intensified Mike's resolve to embrace his identity as an artist and a father. That night, after returning home, Mike gathered his sketchbook and began developing ideas inspired by their day. He envisioned a series of works that mirrored the duality of his life, contrasting vibrant colors of joy with muted tones representing his fears and anxieties. His desire to merge these worlds was becoming clearer. Through art, he could visually explore the intersection of fatherhood and personal ambition. The brushstrokes he applied were not just artistic choices, they were a form of therapy, each swipe liberating pieces of himself he had long encased in doubt. As he sat beneath the glow of the living room lamp, he caught sight of Sarah confidently coloring at the dining table. A striking thought occurred to him: what if they collaborated on pieces intended for Lisa's project? The idea excited him. It was an opportunity to engage Sarah meaningfully in his artistic journey while subtly instilling in her the value of pursuing one's passion. He could help her find her own voice through art while affirming his commitment as a father. By the time he settled into bed that night, the weight that had once draped over him had lifted. But as he closed his eyes, remnants of uncertainty crept back in. Could he maintain this momentum? Was it wise to involve Sarah so deeply, or would it complicate their relationship? His phone buzzed again, an unexpected message from Lisa. The countdown had officially begun, and she wanted to finalize plans for their artistic partnership. Suddenly, the realization dawned on Mike: this was not just a professional endeavor, it demanded emotional vulnerability. The intertwining of their lives, expectations and aspirations loomed large. Would he allow his fears to dismiss the connection being forged, or face the challenge head-on? Tension coiled in his chest as he pondered his response. What lay ahead, and could he trust in his journey as an artist and a father without losing either? The moment of truth was approaching, and the most difficult decisions lay just ahead. The morning light filtered through the window, a soft golden hue that seemed to invigorate Mike as he contemplated the day ahead. The lingering apprehension from last night hung in the air like a delicate mist, but he refused to let it cloud his resolve. Today felt different, charged with a sense of purpose that surged through him with each passing hour. Not only did he have to respond to Lisa's message, but he also needed to reaffirm his commitment as both an artist and a father. After a quick breakfast, Mike sat at the small kitchen table, nervous fingers hovering above his phone screen. He felt a subtle tremor of hesitation, reflecting on the entangled dynamics between professionalism and emotion. As the message appeared, he tapped away, carefully choosing words that expressed his eagerness, yet also recognized the complexities entwined in their creative partnership. He pressed send, watching as the screen flickered to confirm its delivery. There was no turning back now. With Sarah nestled beside him, engrossed in a workbook of exercises, Mike's attention shifted to their joint project. Excitement bubbled within him. They could create something meaningful together, an illustration of their relationship in art. However, like an artist staring at a blank canvas, doubts circled in his mind. What if he pushed too hard? After all, this was Sarah's time. Could he balance nurturing her creativity while also shaping the very essence of his artistic identity? "Hey, Sarah, want to make our own art today?" he asked, lightening his tone. She lifted her head, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Can we make a rainbow?" she exclaimed, enthusiasm spilling over. A grin spread across Mike's face. How could he resist? They gathered supplies, paints, brushes, vibrant papers, and the new sketchbook he'd bought. He adjusted his approach, making sure each activity was playful rather than pressure-laden. Together they floated between spontaneity and structure. The artistic process unfolded organically, radiating joy. As they mixed colors and created patterns, Mike reveled in the simplicity of their interaction. No expectations, only exploration. As midday passed, an idea struck him like a bolt of lightning. They should document their process, a visual diary that captured not only the artwork but the laughter and conversations that accompanied it. This could be an authentic representation of their journey together and, perhaps, align perfectly with the project for Lisa. Sarah was all in. "Yeah. Like a Lego tower, but with pictures," she squealed. Her innocent enthusiasm sent a wave of warmth through him, rooting him deeper in the moment. It was more than an idea, it became a commitment to transparency with both Sarah and himself. As they painted, it became evident that collaboration was not just about blending colors on a canvas, it was a path paved with trust, vulnerability, and shared stories. Yet, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, a shadow loomed in the corners of Mike's mind. The ticking clock reminded him of the impending deadline for the project. Would he be able to balance this newfound artistic partnership with Lisa while devoting time to nurturing Sarah's creativity? His thoughts spiraled into a labyrinth of second-guessing. What if his efforts to involve Sarah distracted from her own artistic exploration rather than enhance it? Before sleep could take him, Mike picked up his sketchbook again, refining ideas inspired by their day. Visual metaphors swirled around him, intertwining the complexity of fatherhood with ambition. Against the backdrop of colorful strokes lay the weight of his fears and uncertainties, ready to be bared through vulnerability. Just as he began to sketch again, his phone buzzed a notification from Lisa, a tangible reminder of the decisions ahead. The message hinted at an upcoming meeting to discuss their project, and Mike's heart raced. The time had come to face the challenges of his dual responsibilities. Would he step forward, embracing creative collaboration while safeguarding the bond with his daughter, or would he accidentally fracture the delicate balance he desperately sought to achieve? The next day unfolded with an impulsive surge of creative energy. As he brewed coffee, Mike considered his options. Did he dare get lost in the world of colors and canvases or prioritize the upcoming project discussion with Lisa? A narrow path of discomfort stretched before him. How could he manage both responsibilities without losing his footing? He settled on a decision that startled even him. He would forge a plan that allowed him to embrace both realms. First, he would finalize the sketchbook project with Sarah, then dive into the preparations for his meeting with Lisa. The idea felt exhilarating, each task reverberating with the rhythm of collaborative art and fatherly connection. As Sarah scampered around the house, hopping between painting and polynomial puzzles, Mike felt an infectious spirit of creativity fill the air. He set an hour aside, focused entirely on documenting their artistic journey. Their laughter echoed through the house, forming a symphony of joy that kept doubt at bay. This was more than a scrapbook, this was a testament to their bond. Witnessing Sarah pour herself into her art with unabashed enthusiasm ignited an unexpected fire within him. While Sarah concentrated on her rainbow design, Mike seized the moment to reflect. Using his sketchbook, he began crafting metaphorical bridges between his responsibilities. Each stroke held a promise of balance, with Sarah's colors weaving seamlessly into his aspirations. There was beauty in this chaos, a lesson learned from recognizing that every aspect of his life could coalesce into a singular vision. With their morning project wrapped up in splashes of paint, Mike felt a weight lifting. He could express himself artistically while actively nurturing Sarah's creative spirit. It was clear now that their collaboration was not merely a project, it was an exploration of life, relationships, and understanding. Later that afternoon, as Mike prepared for his meeting, anticipation bubbled beneath his surface. He pulled out his phone, reviewing Lisa's message for the third time, each word becoming more meaningful. Her suggestion of a brainstorming session felt like a door opening to new possibilities. What kinds of artistic directions would they explore? Would their creative visions align, or would they clash? The familiar weight of doubt lurked back at the edge of his mind. He had left Sarah in the capable hands of her imagination while stepping out to meet Lisa. But was he truly ready to collaborate? The stakes felt higher than ever, and yet, something shifted within him. This time, he wouldn't approach their partnership with uncertainty but with an open heart. As he drove to the cafe where they had arranged to meet, the streets buzzed with a life of their own. His hands gripped the steering wheel, pulse racing with each stoplight. Would Lisa appreciate his artistic growth? Would she see the transformative potential in his recent experiences with Sarah? Arriving at the cafe, Mike took a moment to collect himself. He glanced at his reflection in the glass door, tired but alive, conflicted but determined. This was the moment to embrace his evolution as both an artist and a father, to make a choice that reflected his newfound commitment to openness and vulnerability. As he walked into the cafe, Lisa's gaze met his with an inviting warmth. He fought the flutter of nerves in his stomach, standing at the threshold of not just their project, but a deeper understanding of himself. What awaited him was not just a meeting, but an opportunity to redefine his identity in the artistic landscape. And as their conversation began to weave itself into tangible ideas, Mike could sense the delicate balance teetering once more. How far was he willing to go to merge his worlds, and would he ultimately find what he was searching for in this creative alliance? Mike's heart raced as he settled into the cafe, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within him. The air was charged with possibility, and for the first time in a long while, he felt ready to face his dual roles as an artist and a father head-on. As Lisa greeted him with an encouraging smile, he saw in her eyes the potential for collaboration and invitation to explore their shared aspirations without overshadowing the newfound bond he cultivated with Sarah. "Mike! I'm so glad we're finally doing this," Lisa exclaimed, her enthusiasm palpable. "I loved reading your ideas on integrating your experiences with your daughter into our project. Let's make this something special." As they dove into brainstorming, Mike shared thoughts on blending his father-daughter artwork with their shared history, evocative of the moments he had spent rediscovering his artistic spirit. With every collaboration idea, he felt more like himself, more complete. By the end of their meeting, Mike had found clarity. His art could convey deeper narratives while fulfilling his role as a father. There was joy in creating something reflective of his experiences, something that intertwined Sarah's innocence with the intricate layers of his own truth. With the seeds of the project taking root, he envisioned a celebration of both their journeys, a visual testament to growth and resilience that transcended mere aesthetics. "That series of pieces can showcase our evolving stories," Lisa said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Imagine the connection it could create with the audience, showing them that dreams can flourish amidst responsibilities, that we can nurture both art and family." In that moment, Mike realized that this journey wasn't merely a professional endeavor, it was about cultivating the courage to embrace every part of himself. He felt a deep wave of satisfaction, recognizing how far he had come, once tethered by guilt and doubt, but now standing firmly in his truth. As he returned home, the day's conversations echoed in his mind. He could pursue his ambitions, and Sarah could witness her father's journey, a partnership blooming in tandem with her artistic exploration. That evening, he found Sarah sprawled on the living room floor, drawing furiously. He settled down beside her, excitement bubbling within him. "Hey, wanna take our project to the next level?" he asked, pulling out his newly organized sketchbook. Her eyes lit up. "Yes. Can we make a story with our pictures?" Together, they wove colors and illustrations into a narrative of their lives, their dreams unfolding with each stroke of the brush. This wasn't just art, it was a shared adventure that encapsulated trust, love, and the beauty of both their journeys intersecting. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, its golden light casting a warm glow across their artwork, Mike felt a satisfying transformation settle deep within his chest. He had proven to himself that catering to his desires didn't mean sacrificing his responsibilities. Balancing fatherhood with artistic pursuits became an act of reclamation, illuminating the complexities of life in vivid colors. He had achieved the respect he sought, not just from others but from himself. With their collaborative piece set to be unveiled at an upcoming gallery exhibition, Mike felt the momentum of his newfound path electrifying his spirit. He had cultivated connection, authenticity, and resilience, anchoring himself in what truly mattered. Most importantly, the realization struck him: being a father didn't limit his ambition, it amplified it. In a moment of quiet, he reflected on the journey behind him, a faded past enriched with lessons learned and clarity forged. Now, he stood at the intersection of opportunity, ready to embrace both his roles, with Sarah as his muses. With this revelation, Mike felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He hadn't just invited Sarah into his artistic world, he had opened a new chapter for them both. "Dad, can we continue working on this every day?" Sarah's innocent question pierced through his thoughts, and he beamed at her, his heart swelling with pride. "Absolutely, kiddo. This is just the beginning." As they shared a smile, Mike knew he had conquered not just the waves of doubt but had also established a life woven together by creativity, responsibility, and love. Today was not the end, it marked a new beginning in a fulfilling journey of balance and artistry born from authentic connection. If you're moved by Mike's transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for more exclusive emotional stories that inspire real change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these messages of hope alive. Comment below with your reactions and theories about how these journeys unfold, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion unfold. Don't wait even one more second to make a difference. Your support matters.